Good morning. So how much would it be worth to an organisation to be more able to accurately predict what truly disruptive innovation will look like and lead to the next big thing in the category? This morning, I'm going to talk briefly about our process of how we go about helping you do that. For over 30 years, GfK has studied innovation across categories and its evolution, and we truly believe that disruptive innovation can occur in essentially any category, and more importantly, we can actually predict when it will happen. When we say disruptive innovation, a few examples. Chobani, the little guy that entered a market where Danone and Yoplait were the dominant forces by introducing Greek yogurt to the US market. Now generated over $1 billion in revenue. Coppertone, in sunscreen category, where it was all about how much SPF they could give us, decided to take a different approach and look at the delivery method, innovating around the delivery format, introducing spray, which now accounts for 30% of the category. And then there's that phone that changed everything. So I guess for companies, the billion-dollar question, or for telecommunications, it was a more $150 billion question is, what is this disruptive innovation going to look like? And more importantly, when is it actually going to happen? Traditional research to date has been great at providing the insight by looking at taking traditional methods, looking inside a category to give us the short-term consumer needs. But we believe it lacks that one element of foresight, which is understanding what consumers are going to want in the future. And with the influx of innovation that we're getting in the room, probably in the last 2 days, you guys have seen it, but just outside all around us, it becomes more important that manufacturers look outside of their category for that inspiration. GfK has a predictive benefit framework where we connect the dots on this short-term consumer need with this external emerging forces to help uncover, to map out that future market white space opportunities for your category. Our process briefly begins with the traditional approach, looking at the inside and the inside out to gain understanding of where your category sits in terms of its rate of development and openness to radical change. The next step which we take is that one step further, is where we apply that insight with the foresight by using an outside-in approach. And this is where we look beyond your narrow category target to understand what are those external influences and that will serve as that inspiration for future category. Now this can come from a number of areas, a number of pillars that we see. So it could be new technologies, new health trends, and new diets. It can come from industry experts or thought leaders. An example of one that we did recently with a car study was to look at what the future of car interiors would look like. We reached out to science fiction writers to see what their perspective would be. Got a few interesting responses back as well. So I want to kind of bring this thinking to light a little bit about this outside-in approach. Think back to 2004, and Motorola have just launched the Razr V3 to much critical acclaim, considered highly innovative for its time. What comes next for Motorola is really, in terms of innovation, you could look at two paths. There's a continuous innovation approach, which quite frankly, if it's not broken, don't fix it. But if we apply this outside-in thinking to the category, we can see there are a number of external forces going on for greater exploration. By 2005, had 37% share of the search market. Garmin sales and GPS and navigation devices continued to explode during this time. YouTube in 2005 was launched and then later purchased in 2006 by Google. And then across this time as well, we saw huge advances in digital photography, particularly again with the miniaturization of that. The result, in 2006, Motorola released the Razr V2 version 8 with moderate success. And on June 29th, as we know, Steve Jobs took the stage, launched the iPhone, and essentially changed the game forever. Now, we weren't involved in the iPhone, I want to say that off the outset, but we'd like to think that if Steve Jobs had have called us in 2005, we would have been ready for the challenge. So just to close out, guys, traditional research, we believe, does a great job of giving you the insight in the short term for your category, but it really lacks that insight. It really lacks that true foresight. And GfK has a framework that can help your businesses establish that to identify not only the what of what that disruptive innovation might look like, but also when that will occur. Thank you.